Next in National 9 News exclusive, the first public comments from Olympic hopeful Nick Darcy. Parents to be jailed if their children constantly skip school. And the Princess Diana inquest rules out murder. That's at 6. See you soon.
Tonight, the Wayne Carey interview. Our special panel delivers its verdict. Plus, from rags to riches, our exclusive with Aussie jewellery designer Samantha Wills. Join me for Current Affair.
This is National 9 News with Mark Ferguson.
A 9 News exclusive, Olympic swimmer Nick Darcy speaks for the first time since the alleged nightclub attack.
It's a pretty bad situation, and sorry about how it turned out.
The threat of jail for parents who repeatedly let their children skip school. A national inquiry into the spiralling price of groceries. And the sword falls at the Dragons. Coach Nathan Brown dumped for the Broncos veteran.
It's hard for the club to not show interest in Wayne Bennett.
Good evening. Would-be Olympic swimmer Nick Darcy has said he's sorry about the barroom brawl that's put his international career in jeopardy. Swimming officials haven't yet ruled on whether to expel him from the team for Beijing after he was charged with causing grievous bodily harm to Simon Cowley, who's now recuperating at his Sydney home.
Heading out of Sydney this afternoon, Nick Darcy was clearly a very worried young man.
I know I've been advised by legal counsel just not to say anything to the media, but I've been assisting police in their investigation.
Offering an apology of sorts to his alleged victim, fellow swimmer Simon Cowley, Darcy says he regrets what's happened.
It's a pretty bad situation, and sorry about how it turned out, but that's all I've got to say.
A day after being charged with assaulting Cowley, Darcy and his father flew out for Perth, knowing his Olympic future is in serious doubt.
I don't have any additional comment at the moment, fellas. It would be good if you just respect our privacy at the moment, please.
With the criminal investigation into the weekend fight at the King Street Wharf bar in full swing, the Australian Olympic Committee and Swimming Australia are holding their own inquiries.
Swimming Australia and the AOC are taking legal advice on what the next steps for them, whatever the next steps may be for Nick's future on the Australian Olympic team.
Last night, Cowley was discharged from hospital. Good mate and Olympian Craig Stevens was one of his first visitors.
He can't remember what happened. He just woke up on a stretcher and obviously was in a fair bit of pain.
The 27-year-old former Commonwealth Games champion will have surgery on Friday.
He's obviously not well. The injuries are pretty horrific, as you've probably heard about, you know, the jaw and the eye socket and the palate.
While Darcy has now left Sydney, he'll have to return in 3 weeks' time to face court, charged with assault occasioning grievous bodily harm, a crime that carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in jail. Simon Boda, National 9 News.
The state government is taking a hard line over its policies on school discipline. Under tough new laws, parents who allow their children to repeatedly skip class could end up in jail.
On any school day, 74,000 children are absent from New South Wales classrooms. More than 10% have no reasonable excuse.
Kids who end up spending as much time away from school as they do in the classroom. Those kids are on a fast track to educational failure.
Their parents are now being targeted, and under new truancy laws, repeat offenders will go to jail.
There are about 50 serious cases a year.
Parents who willfully neglect their children by refusing to send them to school, they are breaking the law.
The new laws will allow doctors, not parents, to determine if kids are too sick to be enrolled at school. But school principals say the success of the truancy crackdown will depend greatly on the efficiency of cooperation between the Departments of Education, Health and Community Services.
I think it's certainly an aim that the interagency work will improve. I think certainly there are need for improvements.
Weaknesses highlighted in the recent inquiry into DOCS by former Supreme Court Judge James Wood.
Interagency liaison in New South Wales was simply not happening, that kids were falling through the cracks.
Adam Walters, National 9 News.
The family of a Sydney publican who died following a barroom brawl is fighting to stop two of his killers being released from jail. Eddie Tazzini and Amanasai Tafau were sentenced to 2.5 years behind bars for the 2004 manslaughter of Shane Miles at the Bells Hotel in Woolloomooloo.
Our brother's dead, he'll always be dead. And they're going to do just a couple of 3-4 years maximum before they're back out leading their lives.
The Parole Authority has adjourned its decision until next month. The master of a Sydney Rivercat is on trial over a fatal accident on the harbour last year. The captain has been charged with dangerous navigation, causing the death of a 72-year-old fisherman.
It was a calm and sunny January morning when the Rivercat, driven by Ezra Hilkiah, hit the dinghy. The aluminium tinny flipped on impact, throwing a man and his elderly father into the water. 72-year-old Peter Karatasis died a week after the crash. The Rivercat captain now on trial over his death. Today, prosecutor Jose Crespo said it was excessive speed and dangerous navigation by Hilkiah which caused the collision. He told the jury the accused didn't see the dinghy until impact or moments before. He didn't reduce speed prior to impact, nor did he change his tack or direction. Alan Furlong gave the court a similar account. He was cycling across the bridge when he saw the collision and said the ferry travelled a further 15 metres past the point of impact before slowing down. But the ferrymaster's lawyer, Robert Greenhill, said his client wasn't speeding that day and was keeping a proper lookout. He described the crash as nothing more than a tragic accident. Mr Greenhill also reminded the jury there was no speed limit on the harbour at the time. Jessica Rich, National 9 News.
Home buyers were spared further pain today when the Reserve Bank left interest rates on hold, a decision largely expected by money markets.
A welcome reprieve for working families who've been doing it tough after 8 official rate rises in a row.
Treasurer Swan says he'll work to put maximum downward pressure on inflation after the Reserve predicted it will remain relatively high in the short term. A national inquiry began today to find out if shoppers are being ripped off every time we go to the supermarket. The ACCC is looking into all aspects of the grocery industry, including whether there is too little competition between the giants Coles and Woolworths.
We all know it. Grocery prices are leaping ahead of inflation. It's around 3%. Somehow that trolley of food is jumping by 12%. The ACCC wants to know why.
We understand that the competitiveness of retail grocery prices is of significant concern to all Australians.
The inquiry heard from the Consumers Association. It's critical. There is a lack of competition.
We believe it's vitally important that consumers can have confidence that the prices that they're being charged for essential food and groceries are fair.
There's concern Coles and Woolworths are not just big, they're getting too big and should be stopped.
A proposition that there ought to be a market share cap on the major retailers.
It's worth exploring that issue, yes.
The boss of Franklin's says the No Frills chain wants to take on the big two, but says it's hard, with councils taking up to 6 years to approve new stores.